From the post-millennial, DOJ indicts two RT Media-affiliated Russians, accuses them of laundering $10 million to conservative company Tenet Media to sow division in U.S. The DOJ alleged that the two concocted a scheme to create and distribute content to U.S. audiences with hidden Russian government messaging. Well, let me just take the word of the DOJ straight from the DOJ website. I'll issue some clarification. I have a statement on this, which I will read for you in a second. When I first learned of this story, literally, I'm skateboarding, and I get a DM from a journalist asking if I would talk about the Russian allegations or whatever, and I was like, what? I was like, what allegations? And then they sent me a tweet, and I'm like, I ain't reading that. Like, I'm sorry this happened to you or whatever. And then he said something. I'm like, dude, I have literally no idea what you're talking about. And so then I get some calls. After a conversation with a few people, I was like, all right, I'll put out a statement. And I thought it was a leaked indictment. I didn't realize the DOJ actually did a press conference on all this stuff. So then when I just corrected and changed it. And so let me read this for you, and then we'll give the context as to what this means for us and for you. I will stress that this literally has nothing to do with Timcast Media in any way. I want to make sure that's very, very clear. The Culture War podcast is a separate company that produces The Culture War, and it licensed a show to Tenet, and that was it. There's no direct connection between this and Timcast. So they say two RT employees indicted for covertly funding and directing U.S. company that published thousands of videos in furtherance of Russian interests. They say an indictment charging Russian nationals Konstantin Kalishnikov, 31, also known as Kostya, and Elena Afanasieva, 27, also known as Lena, with conspiracy to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act and conspiracy to commit money laundering was unsealed today in the Southern District of New York. They're both at large. I don't know. Were these people in America? The Justice Department has charged two employees of RT, a Russian state-controlled media outlet, in a $10 million scheme to create and distribute content to U.S. audiences with hidden Russian government messaging, said Merrick Garland. The Justice Department will not tolerate attempts by an authoritarian regime to exploit our country's free exchange of ideas in order to covertly further its own propaganda efforts, and our investigation into this matter remains ongoing. Our approach to combating foreign malign influence is actor-driven, exposing the hidden hand of adversaries pulling strings of influence from behind the curtain, said Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco. As alleged in today's indictment, Russian state broadcaster RT and its employees, including the charged defendants, co-opted online commentators by funneling them nearly $10 million to pro-Russia propaganda and disinformation across social media to U.S. audiences. The department will not tolerate foreign efforts to illegally manipulate American public opinion by sowing discord and division. Covert attempts to sow division and trick Americans into unwittingly consuming foreign propaganda represents attacks on our democracy, said Christopher Wray. Today's actions show that as long as foreign adversaries like Russia keep engaging in hostile influence campaigns, they are going to keep running into the FBI. We will continue to do everything we can to expose the hidden hand of foreign adversaries like Russia and disrupt their efforts to meddle in our free and open society. The Russian government has long sought to sow discord and chaos in the United States through propaganda and foreign malign influence campaigns. Okay, they're just repeating themselves. I will say this again. These are charges. It's an indictment. They're allegations not yet proven true. I have not spoken to any of the people involved in running Tenet, so I don't know what is going on with that company. They go on to say, let me try and read some of this. They deposited nearly $10 million to covertly finance and direct a Tennessee-based online content creation company. In turn, U.S. company One published English language videos on multiple social media channels, including TikTok, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Since publicly launching in or about November 2023, they posted nearly 2,000 videos and have garnered more than 16 million views on YouTube alone. Many of the videos posted by U.S. company One contain commentary on events and issues in the U.S., such as immigration, inflation, and other topics related to domestic and foreign policy. While the views expressed in those videos are not uniform, most are directed to the publicly stated goals of the government of Russia and RT to amplify domestic divisions in the United States. I mean, that's a strong opinion, but I can't speak for the people at the other commentators, so I don't know. I can only speak for what we produce on the Culture War, which is available on iTunes and Spotify. In order to carry out RT's secret influence campaign, they say these individuals posed as outside editors at the company and monitored the funding and hiring. They introduced Afanasieva as a member of the purported editing team using fake personas, Helena Shruda and Victoria Pesty. They blah, blah, blah. They say, for one example, in March 22nd, 2024 terror attack on a music venue in Moscow, Afanasieva asked one of U.S. company's founders to blame Ukraine and the U.S. for the attack, writing, I think we can focus on the Ukraine-U.S. angle. The mainstream media spread fake news that ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack, yet ISIS itself never made such statements. All terrorists are now detained while they were heading to the border with Ukraine. Didn't we say that was ISIS? We covered that.
We said it was ISIS, yeah.
Yeah, we covered that story. We said it was ISIS. And they're arguing that Tenet was saying it was Ukraine or something.
This is what the terrorist attack on October 7th.
I'm pretty sure we called it ISIS, and we were like, oh, wow.
I thought we talked about the spread of Islamic extremism in Europe, but...
Yeah. Which also is like... Anyway, so they go on to mention that $9.7 million was sent. The document names a few people, but they do this thing where they don't name the person. But if you're fans of The Simpsons, then you'll remember that episode where they said it's Principal Skinner, and he's like, a certain person has complained. We'll call her Lisa S. No, that's not good enough. We'll say L. Simpson. Yeah. And so everybody knew it was her. So when they go in this document and they basically say, like, here's a person, here's how many subscribers they have, and here's the show they produce, but we're not saying their name, you get what they're doing and why. So I got a statement for you guys. I said, my statement regarding the DOJ indictment: should these allegations prove true, I, as well as other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims. I cannot speak for anyone else in the company as to what they do or what they are instructed. The Culture War podcast was licensed by Tenet Media. It existed well before any license agreement with Tenet. It will continue to exist after any such agreement expires. The only change with the agreement was that the location of the live broadcast moved to Tenet's YouTube channel. The Culture War never produced any content for Tenet Media. And I want to clarify that too, because I got community noted on this thing. We didn't take orders, instruction, or editorial guidance in any way. The only thing that we had was we produced the Culture War Friday mornings at 10 a.m. You can go to youtube.com/timcast. That's where it is. But the core broadcast of the show moved from that channel to Tenet as part of a licensing agreement. So, like, if, I don't know, say CBS or some major network said, hey, we want to put Timcast IRL also on our channel at the same time slot, I'd be like, sure, whatever, pay us a fee.